and welcome to Beyond the Bio. This week I'm chatting to Lea Turner, who is the guru of LinkedIn. Listen to the episode to learn what got Lea into LinkedIn in the first place and how she grew her profile so spectacularly. Lea knows everything about LinkedIn and she's chatting through lots of hints and tips that are going to make your LinkedIn game better than it has ever been before. So let's get stuck in. Lea Turner, welcome to Beyond the Bio. It's great to have you on because lots of people want to talk about LinkedIn, and who else would I talk to about LinkedIn other than you?
Well, it's very nice to be asked. I'm looking forward to it.
So you've been into LinkedIn since kind of 2019, so like 5 years into LinkedIn now, haven't you? And what drew you to LinkedIn as opposed to any other platform? Because you don't strike me as a typical LinkedIn person.
Desperation, really. I had a small business that I was running, a transcription business, and I wanted to get better quality clients with bigger projects because I was working on loads of little individual ones, which was driving me crazy managing all the different clients. I had, I don't know, like 150 clients that would come to me. Some of them were regular and some of them were just now and then. And I wanted to find some bigger projects that I could sink my teeth into. And I had no spare money because I really was making, my financial advisor sent me my first ever life insurance application, and it had my earnings for 2019 as £17,000 before tax. So I wasn't making enough money to be spending on any marketing. So I needed another option. And I kept getting those LinkedIn emails saying, someone viewed your profile. And I was like, oh, I don't even really have a profile. Like, I wonder what LinkedIn is. So I went on and scrolled a bit and went, good God, this is awful. Logged out again. And then I didn't really have any other options. So I went back and poked around a little bit more and eventually switched my logo to a photo of my face and braved doing a few horrible, terrible posts that got like nothing. And so, yeah, that's where it all started. It was through lack of other options and sheer desperation, really.
That's mad. Like, because what are you on, like 170,000 followers or something now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild to have gone from that to this sort of within 5 years. Because I think it's interesting when people aren't hugely active on LinkedIn and they do the posts and then they don't get much back from it. So, you know, what was the point where that changed for you?
Oh, it sounds so cliche, but it was when I started being brave enough to be myself. I was posting all these like really super corporate sounding, like, oh yeah, I'm one of you kind of posts. And I didn't want people to know what I looked like because my entire life I'd been told, oh, you've got all these tattoos. You don't look, no one's going to take you seriously in business. And I'd internalized that for so many years. And I just had low self-esteem. Like I was a typist. Like what did I have to offer for the LinkedIn audience? But every time I logged on there, I just wanted to claw my eyes out. I was so bored of it that I realized that if I'm going to actually do this, I need to make it fun for me. Because if it's not fun for me, I'm just not going to do it. And so I started having fun writing posts, like talking about my life, projects that I was working on, running a business as a single parent. And I was quite honest with them, but always, I guess, like a humorous spin on things as well.
Well, you
And
are funny as well, which helps.
thank you. And I showed my face, which for people listening that don't know what I look like, I'm literally like chin to toes in tattoos, bright blonde hair, lots of piercings. So I didn't look like what people expected to see on LinkedIn, which obviously drew attention. It's not enough to hold attention and actually get me clients, but it certainly made people go, oh, she's different. And when I started posting the more like humorous lifestyle, what we kind of know as personal branding type content now, I guess, the followers started flooding in. And I think within 2 months of me starting to regularly post on the platform, I'd hit 10,000 followers and people going, oh my God, you're growing really, really fast. And I was like, oh, is this not normal? I mean, I'm not interested in the numbers. It makes no odds to me. But that it all started going really, really quickly then. And it wasn't just, you know, likes and followers. It's people were actually getting engaged with my conversations that I was starting, and I was building friendships and getting opportunities to go on podcasts and speak to people. And yeah, I was getting a lot of clients. I had like 100 clients for transcription.
What was the tipping point where because you don't do any of that anymore, do you? So
No.
what was the point where you sacked that off and sort of went all in on LinkedIn?
So I started the LinkedIn training in April 2020, which felt audacious because I'd only been on the platform for like, 6, 7 months or something. And I had somebody else that was doing all the transcription for me. So I was kind of overseeing it, but they were basically running it all. And I was convinced the LinkedIn training, like, it wouldn't last. So I was just doing as much as I possibly could to make as much money as I could until it all didn't work anymore and no one wanted to hire me. I genuinely didn't believe it was going to be a thing. And then I think there was a Saturday where I got an email from a client saying that some work wasn't included that was urgent. And I sat at my desk typing these medical reports and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm charging so little. I'm probably going to sit here for 2-3 hours and make 30 quid if I'm lucky. And I'm charging £99 an hour or £250 an hour, I think, at that point for the LinkedIn training. Like, what am I doing on a Saturday? And I sent the urgent work back, followed by an email to all of my clients saying that Stereotype, my previous business, was winding up effective immediately. And here are some other people that you can try, and refer them to the freelancers that I was working with or had worked with, and just wound it up completely. Like,
Bold.
yeah,
And haven't looked back.
no, not really. It kind of
No,
grew and
not at
grew and
all.
grew.
Let's talk about LinkedIn. How do you keep your knowledge of LinkedIn updated? Because you always know stuff before other people. Have you got some special friends at LinkedIn?
No.
Are they sort of tipping you off and saying, "Oi, Lea, we're about to do this"?
I think I pay a lot of attention to like new features. I'm very observant. Sometimes I don't think I realize how observant I am, but I'm very observant. So I'm paying attention to how things are changing, what's doing well, what's not. I also have like a group chat of other LinkedIn trainers where they often talk about like new features that they've spotted. So a lot of it is just like the community of other trainers and me paying attention to what I see is working and what isn't working. It used to be polls were huge and they were pushing those, and then they don't perform well at all anymore. But videos at the moment are being really pushed because they've got this new video feed. And so videos get selected by people at LinkedIn for being particularly useful. Not every video, obviously, but when you click on a video on your mobile now, if you've got the update, you can scroll through like a TikTok feed and you see a lot of people you're not connected to on there. So it's a really good way to discover new people. And my video the other day, so I posted one video, I think it was Friday, that was 3 minutes long, and it got about 50,000 views on it, which is
Wow,
very good for
that's good.
a
Yeah,
3-minute video. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I did one on Tuesday that was just over 2 minutes long, and that hit 250,000 views. And I had a
wow. So do you
spike
think
in
that's the
followers.
sweet spot then? A couple of minutes? Do you think it's around the time, or is it the content?
I think for the video feed, they want you to talk about your expertise. So things like silly TikTok videos and reels, they're not gonna say they're not gonna perform if they're relevant to your niche. But if they are just, you randomly dancing because you've had a good week, that's not going to get the attention of people at LinkedIn that are choosing which videos to feature. Because I do believe they're like hand selected. So if you need to be actually creating something that is useful to the people that follow you. And the two that I've posted last week were actually talking about community building and actually sharing about my expertise rather than me just being promotional. I was actually offering some, I suppose, valuable insight. I think short-ish videos, like 90 seconds to 2.5 minutes, that's kind of sweet spot for getting across what you're an expert in and talking about something that people will find useful.
Oh, I feel like I now need to plan out some videos now that you've told me that. I
Do you know
think,
what
oh,
though?
I need
Don't
to have a go.
plan. I've got a little DJI handheld camera thing and I just speak straight to that. So the videos that I've posted, completely unedited apart from adding captions, no jump cuts, no fancy graphics, nothing, just me having a conversation with the people I'm speaking to. And those seem to be working really well. I think that real person to person feel, you're just having that conversation looking directly at the camera, really seems to be, and it's not just me, I'm not just basing this on my own videos and the views, I'm seeing it work really well. And it's so good for generating clients because people want to get an idea for the feel of who you are. And there's only so much you can get through, like, writing and photos are great, but hearing somebody's voice and them speaking unedited to their expertise really, it's like listening to podcasts, isn't it? If you really,
Yeah.
I always say, if you want to know an expert, if they're really an expert, listen to them speak, whether that's on a podcast or an interview, like whatever it is, listen to them speak, because it's very easy to run any old blog through Chat GPT and create a post that makes you look like an expert.
Very wise. I'm going to have a think about that then, and think about what I can put on, I think. A couple of things that you just said before, I just want to go back on. You said that you were in a group with other LinkedIn trainers. I think that there's quite a few maybe scammy LinkedIn trainers, or ones where I would look at them and think, well, what have you actually got to talk about? Because you know what LinkedIn's like for the messages. You just get loads of random salesy messages all the time. So I quite often, I'd say every week, I probably get at least a message or two from someone who's a LinkedIn trainer that I've never heard of, trying to sell me LinkedIn training. And I go on their profile and they'll have like 2 likes on a post, and my posts do all right. And I thought, well, what have you got with your 4,000 followers and your 2 likes? Like, what is it that you think you can help me with here? And I just don't find them credible. Like, have you got any of them in your group, or are you like the LinkedIn training gurus and you only let people in who've got a certain amount of impressions?
You've got people that are like nerds for LinkedIn. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean, they are super, super involved. They keep such an eye on all the platform changes and trends and things that move forward. And they talk about them. Have you noticed this? Have you noticed that? But I think, I mean, I don't really go and check on their engagement. I wouldn't say that these people are the kind of people that are focused on engagement. They're focused on helping people to build their company pages, or helping people to put good information out there and have the right conversations with the right kind of people that they can work with. So it's not all about engagement. I think for me, because I also get a lot of engagement and have a lot of followers, that will be a metric that a lot of people look at, and they will say, well, if we're going to hire someone, we want someone who's doing the thing that she says she can help us to do and is doing it legitimately, because we all know that there are people that are not doing it legitimately. But no, the experts that I'm talking about, they're not really like big influencers. That's not a gauge of expertise. It's very easy for people to buy followers or add their content.
Can you buy followers on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a few platforms. There's one guy that's actually very, very vocal about his anti-buying followers and using automated commenting bots and all sorts of things. But you can literally go and sign up for like a subscription amount, and every post that you put out, it adds it to this like engagement pod group, and then you'll write a list of say 20 comments that you want on the post, and the bot will pick a comment and just post that on your post from the other person's account. So it's so, like, I hate that it does it, but you can tell because they're all generic comments, and sometimes they'll be repeated because the bot's picked, they've run out of comments, so you've got repeated comments, and they do it to look like more interesting
Popular.
or more successful than they are.
And I'm going to guess that you don't recommend this as a strategy.
No, absolutely not. Because what's the point? And, as well with people who get VAs to do all of their engagement. Now, I'm not against people using a VA. I have a VA, but my VA clearly has to identify himself. If he's in my DMs replying, he identifies that it is him. He doesn't comment for me on anything on LinkedIn because I'm there to build relationships with people myself. And there's someone that I know, like I met them at an event, and I knew them from Instagram, but they had no idea the other people that they were speaking to knew him, because he doesn't do anything on LinkedIn himself. It's all run by somebody else. So then you go to a networking event and they go, oh, hiya. And you're like, I have no idea who you are, because they weren't building a relationship with that person. Like, you wouldn't send a robot to a networking event. So LinkedIn is a networking event. So if you've got someone else networking for you, you're not actually building that relationship. So
yeah, I can see why people get sucked into that. And it's the same with engagement pods. And I've got some friends who are very successful and very active and do very well on LinkedIn and very well in business, who are into all of that, which I find strange actually, because I don't feel like they need to do any of that. So that always surprises me.
No, but it's ego driven, isn't it? They want to look like they've got big numbers of followers. They want the opportunities that come with looking like they have big numbers of followers and engagement. But actually, if you're selling a service to a primarily UK based audience, and then you're getting thousands of reactions from people in Southeast Asia. How is that helpful? Because you're not actually selling to the right audience. And you'll find that the more people in Southeast Asia engage with that content, the more it's showing to more people in Southeast Asia. And suddenly the percentages of your audience just shrink. So I think it's important to focus on being connected with the right people.
But even normal people, I think, can get sucked into the vanity thing. So I guess there's a couple of questions kind of wrapped up in one here, because obviously I know that your suggestion is that you should be posting regularly on the platform, and that's going to, help with the engagement, all these different things, which I get. I think you challenged me to try and post 3 times a week at one point, and I think I managed it for about 2 weeks. And then I just got to the point where I thought I just haven't got enough to say. And then I went down to twice a week. And then at the moment, I'm probably about once a week. But I think what's holding me back, I'm being really honest here, is that my posts are doing well. So a bad post for me at the moment is probably about 100 likes and 20 or 30 comments, but good ones can be 3, 4, 500 engagements and loads of comments as well, which is great. And I'm having brilliant conversations with really interesting people, and I'm loving all of that. But I think I've probably got a little bit of maybe imposter syndrome, or just that kind of panic and anxiety around, oh my God, what if I put another post out and it gets like 20 likes instead? And how do I keep that higher quality? And I think I've now just overthought it so much that it's kind of made me feel a bit scared.
But the thing is, if you walked into a networking event and got up on a stage and had 20 people looking directly at you and listening to what you say, you wouldn't feel unsuccessful. You've got the attention of 20 people that are relevant to what you do and may find it interesting or useful. That's not a fail. And just because only 20 people clicked like doesn't mean that only 20 people read it. Like, that's 85% of my clients, and when I speak to my membership community, so there's like 600 of them, when we're all on calls and masterclasses and we talk about it in the LinkedIn clinics, I say to them, like, how many of you have got clients that were lurkers that never engaged with you before? And almost every single one of them puts their hand up and says, yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
and
you're dead right, actually.
There's so many people that don't ever engage that are still reading.
So basically what you're saying is get over it and carry on posting a bit more often, because that's where you're going to find those people. Which people should be paying for LinkedIn as a subscription? Because I've not found it any use whatsoever to me ever at any point. Is it good for anyone? Should anyone be paying for LinkedIn?
There's more features now. So one of the things that LinkedIn Premium allows you to do is connect with, so the limit is 100 new connections per week, give or take. It's not always accurate, but give or take. So you can accept or send up to 100 per week. But you can only send 10 connection messages a month on the free version, which is rubbish. You also can only see like the last 2 or 3 people that have viewed your profile. And you can't have the custom website button, which shows underneath. So when I post anything, there's a view my website or sign up to my newsletter link right under my name on every single post. And also every time I send a DM, which is really good. And I've noticed the increase in visits to my website as a result of that, and email signups.
And can you, on that link, because one of the things that frustrated me was that when that first came out, you couldn't personalize that link. There was a couple of options that you could have. Has that changed?
So there's view my portfolio, book a call, subscribe to my newsletter, visit my website. So there is limited options, but it's still really good to increase traffic. So you can't put like download a lead magnet or anything like that, unless you just view my website and it takes you to the lead magnet. But the most useful thing that I find is being able to have an open profile. So because I'm at the connection limit, which is really frustrating, I want people to be able to still message me even if they can't connect with me. And also being able to see who's viewed my profile. Because if you've got the same, like, for example, one Friday night, I was a couple of glasses of wine in and I was scrolling my LinkedIn and I saw 3 people from the same recruitment agency had all viewed my profile within about 5 minutes. So I DM'd the one that looked the most important and said, oh, should my ears be burning? And actually booked them as a client. So amazing. It's one of those, like, you can see who they are, how long ago they looked at your profile, how often they're viewing your profile, if you keep seeing the same names popping up. So I think for me, that's probably my most used feature Oh, and the away message is very useful as well. So on my birthday, when I get thousands of people message me happy birthday, it just has an auto reply that sends them to my my lead magnet.
Nice. Yeah, that's quite cool. I do like that. I think that was what put me off about having that, is that in my LinkedIn profile, I take people to our lead magnet, which is our quiz, and I couldn't get the wording for that. But I
You
guess
still have it in
you're
your
probably
featured
saying,
posts, so
yeah, and I guess I could have view my website or whatever it is and still send them to the same link. So I could do it. Maybe I give that another go. What do you think is a good way to organically grow your network? Is it just consistent posting that's good quality? Is it as simple, say simple? I mean, there's obviously a skill to that.
yes, consistent posting. You need to be posting on a regular basis, but that doesn't have to mean every day. That could just be twice a week. But the biggest way to start growing on LinkedIn is to be a valuable asset to people's communities. So if you're contributing interesting comments to their posts and joining in conversations and starting conversations with your own content and actually caring about what people, if you're just chucking out a post for the sake of it, don't think about what you're contributing and how you're helping people and what people are taking away. And that can be as simple as you've made them laugh or smile or feel seen, but it doesn't have to be like some massive essay that's going to change their life, because they probably won't read it all. But it's being a valuable asset. If you're making their comment sections fun, or they're learning from you, or you're offering another insight, or you're being supportive towards something that they're doing, people want to be around people like that. We are drawn to people that make us feel good. So if you can be somebody that makes people feel good, and that, even a rant can make other people feel good because they feel like validated when they feel the same way. So you've got to like widen the spectrum on what feeling good means. It's not just, oh, you've made them laugh with a funny TikTok. It's like, have they walked away with something that they didn't have when they got here? And that's always been like my guiding light with what I'm creating is, am I going to be able to start conversations with this? Am I hanging around to have those conversations with the people who are taking the time to comment? Am I then reciprocating when I see their content and, commenting my own thoughts on what they've said? And it's about that. Like, you're there to meet people, hopefully find clients, but also find opportunities. And they all come from building relationships. So if you focus on building relationships with people, people are attracted to be in your orbit.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, top voice badges. Are they just a load of shite?
Blue ones or yellow ones? No, they're
Well,
both a
what's
load
the
of shite.
difference?
So the blue ones are distributed by LinkedIn, and they are given to people who are considered by them to be reputable in their field or experts in their field. However, I've no idea how they actually verify that. And I know multiple people who are blue badge holders. They are using engagement pods and they are not earning the things that they say they earn. And some of them now as well have been through like creator programs with LinkedIn, and then they were given a badge. So for being part of those, they merged it. So they LinkedIn select people and people that have been through specific training programs with LinkedIn, which they got paid to be part of as well. The yellow badges are an absolute load of shite and they mean nothing and do not
Are
play.
they the ones where you get an alert that says contribute 3 comments to this random
so
thing?
LinkedIn introduced collaborative articles. Collaborative articles are written by AI, and you as experts in specific fields get invited to contribute to them. If you contribute to them a few times, you'll be given a top voice badge in that particular niche. But there are people out there now selling it as an option. So they'll go into your LinkedIn account, comment on the AI articles with AI comments that they've got, and then you'll get this top voice. So there's people going, I'm a top voice in this, I'm top voice in that. I'm like,
yeah,
there are
they're
people
always
posting joke responses that are nothing to do with the actual article that are then getting top voice badges just by automation because they've left 3 comments on the articles. So I don't recommend anyone waste time on
Sounds crap. Okay, so I've noticed now you're not moving away from LinkedIn, you're still very, very on LinkedIn, but you're moving towards other platforms. So, you're posting a lot on Instagram now and on Threads.
Threads is purely for my own fun because my audience is small there and I can say whatever the hell I like. And it doesn't have to be all about LinkedIn because there's only so much you can post. Like, I want to have a space where my thoughts can just be thoughts and not have to be like curated or turned into fancy content. But I'm moving away from LinkedIn in terms of I'm not going to be offering LinkedIn training beyond the end of this year. And it's not because I'm not good at it anymore or because I don't like it anymore. It's because the community has grown big quickly and it's got amazing potential and I've got loads of ideas for it. And it's a way for me to be able to support more people at scale without it having to be me traveling to do corporate trainings in London and all over the country as a solo mum. It gives me more freedom and I want to focus in on one particular thing and do it really well instead of trying to divide my attention. And so, yeah.
Perfect. That all makes total sense. Awesome. So I'm sure people listening are probably already following you on LinkedIn, but if they're not, we will pop a link to your profile in the show notes so that they can find you. And you mentioned you've got your podcast starting in October. Have you got a name for that? Is that anything you can share with us?
Yeah, it's called the Holtz Survival Guide for Small Businesses. So we'll be speaking to real life small business owners about the not so glossy social media filtered realities of running a business and how it's impacted their lives, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, like all of the bits nobody really ever talks about. We want to get to the nitty gritty and share what it's really like to run a small business because it's far from all highlights.
100%. Awesome. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that. Thanks so much, Lea.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening. If you're serious about growing your profile, take our free profile assessment quiz to see where you're at right now and get hints and tips on how to improve your score. You'll find the link to the quiz in the show notes. If you've enjoyed the episode, it would be mint if you'd subscribe, like, and leave a review. See you next Monday.